don't have any editing software, so I get one take at this. Yeah, here goes. Here we are. Got my nickel. Another classic from Chicago Coin. There we are. That's the intro out of the way. This is Chicago Coin's Thrill pinball machine from 1948. Very interesting game. Bit of a pain to fix. It actually took me a lot longer to get this one going than I was expecting because I'm like, it's so old. It's a year after they invented the flipper. How complex could it be? Well, it's not really that complex, but, you know, with that extra decade or so of being old that I'm not used to, it's just, there's a lot more stuff that needed a lot deeper of cleaning than I was used to. So currently, I've got 3 credits on the game in the little window there, and I do have a working nickel slide that I stole out of a Williams El Paso pinball machine about the same year. So a working nickel slide won't slide all the way in. It only goes that far in until you put a nickel in. And technically, I should be able to slide it all the way in because I've got 3 credits in the machine right now. But in this specific game, as soon as you plug the machine into the wall, only the back GI bulb and the little bulb silhouette window thing lights up. So you actually do have to put a nickel in for the very first credit to start the game. Balls release. They go over to this really cool ball lift mechanism. I'll have to show you that when I open the machine up. It's really neat. And you've got the silhouette under your plunger to show you how far you've pulled it back. Super, super cool. Yeah, here we go. There we go. That's a good start. If I could hit something, that'd be great. All right, getting both the L's is pretty good. Wow, I ran over it twice, right when it was done. All right, R and I, the 2 easiest bumpers. Wow, that's nice. Can't get it to land over there. Got it. I got extra special lip, which I've never scored. Oh my gosh. Alright, extra special. Come on. 50,000. I got it! That's 5 replays. I get 2 million? 2 million. That's a free game off 2 million for sure. Ah. Wow. I don't even want to play any other games. That was everything you want to have in a video of Thrill. So 2,130,000 is my score. I don't know why I'm looking at the camera for my score. I can use my eyeballs and look straight forward. But no, yeah. Really interesting game. Flippers never turn off because it can't detect when you've lost all 5 balls. And topping all off, you also can just burn the flipper coils out by holding them down. They do not have the standard double winding that you would think to see in a flipper. But here, let me show you now. I got a whopping, what is that? I had 2 replays on the machine after I played that. So I got 8 replays because I'm at 10 now. I got 5 for my extra special. And then I got 2,100,000. So I should only have, should have only had 6 replays. Yeah, I snuck another one in there. The game was nice to me. Maybe it gave me a couple more. But I printed out this instruction card for myself. I had 5 balls on both sides, but it didn't print like that. And it was such a pain to get the Canon printer even working that I just said, screw it, worked good enough for me. But here on the working nickel slide, you can see it's got that relay on the underside. I have to leave it plugged in here. That as soon as I close that switch, I have that relay activating to push under that to allow me to slide it all the way in. I mean, all the way in. It's hard to do this with one hand, but I clipped off the 2 wires right there, and I used the orange with the white trace and then the brownish wire to that braking switch, making switch. I don't know, it was a bit of a hassle to get it to work absolutely properly, but kind of had to. I really wanted it to work at the end of the day. This thing's going on location, would you believe that? So, as long as nobody holds my flipper buttons down, I'll be a happy camper, because, like I said, these don't have your standard flipper coils in there. They're just normal coils. So, you totally have the ability to hold the button down and just fry the coil, but I'm just assuming they thought nobody would do that because, well, you're going to lose the ball down the middle if you hold it down. But so now you can see up top, let me just hold it here. There we are. See up top the balls return to the thing here when we do this. All the balls go to the ball lift lane. You got your bulb under here to light up the shooter rod. I saw somebody had hooked it up to the 125 on here, which is the high tap. So I hooked it back up to the standard line voltage that the other bulb is on. And there we go, thrill notes. Changed the labeled switch under the playfield into a make switch and disconnected the wire for the switch on the ball run control relay. Otherwise, the relay step down or replay step down coil would be locked on at least until the points were scored. So that's what I mean here is this switch way up here, I have doing replay step down. I have that switch doing replay step down. See, it just gets pushed at the very end of that. That does replay step down. And yeah, I noticed it was like a brake switch that would break a little bit, but then always stayed made. So I left the wires on that the same, stepped it down, and then the ball run control relay, I don't know why, but they had this wire, I mean, this is from the factory. They had this wire hooked up to the ball run control relay right here. Like you can hear it, yeah, right there. All I'm doing is that wire will continue to hold the replay unit step down coil until I play my first ball. Now I don't know if that's because I'm not using the brake switch on the coin door as well, and maybe that brake switch also breaks the connection to that switch on the ball run control relay. I have no idea because I have no schematic, no idea what anything does. It's just, I don't want that coil to stay locked on until I've scored a point because I'm not, what if somebody just starts a game and then doesn't know how to lift the ball and plunge it? Then that coil is going to fry in like 2 minutes. So that's that. I used a small zip tie around my shooter tip instead of something professional. So that might be something you could consider changing. You did it. This is a really cool shooter rod. It has this extension spring that makes it harder to push in when you push it in further. And then it has this huge barrel spring off here to let where it actually pushes on the rod be a nice soft push, which is right here. And it's just such a cool mechanism that there's a little return spring right here to make it harder. Just lifts the ball up, just like that. Look how little you have to move that. That's just so neat. And you got your see-through silhouette, you got your ball release coil. That's releasing the balls to the lane there. There we go. That'll turn off as soon as you start scoring a point. There we go. You got your flippers here. Nice old flippers that... that's why it's weaker. It's a little loose now. He's shaking. He is not. So I have to tighten that down. This one's your lock relay right here that pretty much locks the whole game on, and then he stays on all the time. But it's really cool how he gets activated as you push this down. The trip bank reset itself actually pushes on this huge blade to pull him in. It's so weird. It's like he just gets pushed in like physically, like you're pulling him in yourself. It's just this trip bank reset that does it. So, and your trip bank is pretty simple. It's just THRILL and then the thrill series right between it. You got your thrill change over, ball run control, and tilt. I don't know what thrill change over is. I'm assuming that changes everything to like special, and then that changes the center rollover to worth free game once you get all the letters. Let me see if it activates when you get all the letters here. Alright, let me get the last one. Yep. That probably also starts counting the points when it goes. So. Yep. You got your kick out holes that are all on one stinking coil, so it's a really oddly shaped mechanism. So these are pretty weak kickouts, but then the one dead center is very, very strong. This one hit the glass when I use it. I have to re-level every single insert. I have this rollover button would stick down, and then it would just keep constantly scoring points. I took a Dremel bit. I don't know if you can really see it, but you see how this is like a flat edge on the very side, and this is more of like a curved edge on the very side. I took a Dremel bit that just cut a little bit around the whole edge. You can't even notice it when its playfield is down and it's facing it, but since this plastic was so huge and it kind of warped over time, especially with 3 light bulbs cooking it underneath at all times, and the other ones only have 2, that yeah, needed a lot of attention, but attention was given. Only other significant thing under the playfield, you have all your relays. Intermediate 10,000 relay. Target button scoring. 50,000 lanes. 500 thrill series. Oh, so that's what does the 500,000. Only when that happens. Side holes 50,000. Top lane 500 or 50,000 and 5 replays. Center hole 5,000 and 5,000, 2,000. Motor relay. That runs the score motor in the back. There's literally nothing in here except for the knockoff switch, which I don't even think if I have credits on here. Yeah, I don't even have the knockoff switch wired up to work right now. But This Southern style potato salad works great for a coin box. You just got your standard flipper buttons. This one's broke on this side, but still works, so whatever. And yeah, that's pretty much everything on the underside of the playfield, except for one very important thing. This thing isn't really necessary. This isn't a coil. This is like a compression tube thing, so you just like slowly decompress this whole rod, but you really don't need it. Like, I broke it as I was trying to screw this screw in on the side, so it's not necessary. And the only other thing I think of, you got a bunch of your bumper switches. You like that old style bumper switch where it's a wire soldered to the rod, and the wire soldered to the ring, kind of like a tilt sensor. But it was really important. You see that big glob of solder on top? I actually soldered the ring inside the ring, so it couldn't come loose, because all those rings were just ready to fall completely out. So that didn't reset it, whatever. The only other pretty important thing is these light bulbs right here. I replaced all of them with LEDs, but the one that chooses the scoring target light for the inserts right here, the 50,000 or 200,000, 50,000, 150,000, 100,000. Those lights that alternate off of every score motor rotation, they are not on these lights right here. They are not on the 25 volt circuit. Why can't my camera focus? As soon as I hit the little sun thing, the sun thing never goes away, and then I have to keep hitting the sun thing. But these are not on the 5 volt circuit or 6 volt circuit. These are on the coil circuit. So as soon as I put LEDs in all these, whenever it wanted to select it, it would just start my LED on fire, and it was smoking, and it was pretty bad. So as a result of that, I figured out that there was actually a huge resistor on the score motor in the back, and that's actually what that does, is it decreases the power to those 4 light bulbs. I saw another video by Max's basement, or it was Max's garage. He goes through. He has like a 3-part video series where he goes through his 1948 Chicago coin Catalina machine. I think it was a pirate themed one, and he called this a capacitor. This is actually a huge resistor, and I can't even know the resistance of this thing. I don't even have my meter with me right now, but this one, it was not, even though it was still in there, the solder had failed between here and there, so I put brand new solder on that and wired it back up, and it was all good. The thing that selects the lights itself is this finger on top, which I think is really cute. That finger goes from one pad to the other. Each one of those pads is a light bulb. I'm just using the motor run switch to move it to the next position. You also have those 2 fingers over on that side. I'm assuming that finger is the unlock finger as well for all your 20,000 point scoring, because you notice there's only 1 tooth on that whole thing. You've got no actuation, actuates, none, and goes. So, assuming that's what that's for. Oh, and I was going to mention, somebody on the Internet Pinball database was putting a review of this machine. The only review of this machine, they were like, I like how there's no, oh, I tilted the machine. I cheated. He was like, I like how there's no, it's just the mechanical sound of, okay, my camera, I'm going to lose it. I like how it's the mechanical sound of clunk, clunk, clunk whenever it adds like 50,000. But that's not actually supposed to be the case. This is the 10,000 step-up unit, you've got a big bell down here, of which I also overrode this switch. I totally forgot about this. This switch at the bottom of the 100,000 step-up unit I have as always closed, because this is the signal to the bell coil, and it seems like it's only closed when the unit's at 0, so it's like that breaks the whole connection to the bell, and I want that bell to go every 10,000, 100,000. So yeah, overrode that switch is permanently closed. Nothing else bad happens to do that. Got your unit here. Right there. Yeah, that 10,000 step-up unit, you might notice there's like this whole bar here just hanging out, chilling. It doesn't do anything. It just moves to the right. And right there in this little screw hole, you can see there's a machine screw that was once there with a lock nut. That's where the other bell should be. Should be a pretty small bell. I'm guessing like a 3-inch bell, smaller than this for sure. Maybe one of those tiny old Williams bells they used in like Silver Skates, but yeah, there should be a bell right here for every single 10,000 points. But I also just don't have one in there because I was not going to bother with putting a bell in there. I think it's already loud enough as it is. But technically, if you want your machine to be original, that should be in there. Only other thing is, you know, that switch opens the connection to the relay on the front of the cabinet when you have 0 credits on the machine. No idea what this switch does at all. I don't think. Maybe I do. I have no idea. It's been a while since I've done this. You've got 1.8 million all the way up to 3.2 million for a free game. That's why I have my scorecard at 2 million, 2.4, 2.8, and 3.2. And probably the oldest game ever with a free play setting jack. One of the only games ever with a free play setting jack. I'm assuming putting this in this position will always energize that relay on the coin door, but I don't know, and I spent too much time messing with the coin door stuff to really look into it any further. If you look on my Instagram, you can see how filthy this area down here was. It was the filthiest thing I've ever cleaned, and it was pretty funny. You should definitely look at that. Otherwise, I mean, my gameplay video was like pretty perfect. You know, I got like everything down. The only other thing I would gather showing, besides my wonderful cabinet that's not even in bad shape much at all, here is what I did for the lights in the back, because I